You've all heard it before, if you're not growing, you're dying. And that's what this video is about. It's my lifestyle design system to constantly level up in all areas of your life. I've split it down into 5 categories for you of how you can start to take a look at your life and also the way you look at fear and change that. Because fear is the biggest thing that holds us back when we design our lives. You don't do a certain thing because you're scared. You don't talk to that girl because you're scared. You don't start that business because you're scared. This video is about progressive overload. How do we overcome fear? Same way we do in the gym with progressive overload. When we lift heavier each week, it tears our muscle and repairs it. That concept I apply to every area of my life, from women to money to travel to the whole lot. And I'm going to run you through my lifestyle design system. So without further ado, let's get into it. Number one that you all want to hear about all the time is women. Lifestyle design and progressive overload with women. What does that mean? And a worrying thing that I've seen with most guys is that they've settled for a woman that isn't fulfilling them sexually, that they don't have too much of a connection with, and isn't beautiful, or they don't see them as beautiful anymore. And that's a pretty fucked up place to be too scared to go out there and back into the market, don't feel you have enough value to find a better woman. Now, I'm not saying beauty is the be all and end all of women. If you've got an amazing girlfriend, amazing sex life, amazing relationship, she's not a 10 out of 10, but she's a 6 out of 10, and you like her, fantastic. Do that. That's not what happens with most people. Your partner is an exact representation of you as a man. And as you become more established as a man and you do things with your life and you become better framed in relationships, when you become the man and women look up to you and you have good relationships with girls, you'll realize how much of an influence you are on them. Like basically in my life, my girlfriend's just a mini me. She's just become a version of me. So she's an exact mirror of what I accept. And that's the problem with most people's relationships, where they haven't pushed themselves and they're too scared to leave, even though it's not what they want, is that woman, no matter how she looks or how she treats you, is exactly how you treat yourself. Like the blame is never on her, it's on you. So how do we fix this in our lives? For the guys that are in relationships that doesn't feel perfect, right? Maybe she treats you like shit. You've let the frame go a lot of times and she doesn't really have respect for you anymore. She doesn't really listen to you. And you're a little bit scared to leave because it's gotten comfortable and you don't know if you can find other girls because maybe you let yourself go a little bit. Let's sort that one out. So number one, you can't be with somebody that you're unhappy with. If you're unhappy with it now, something needs to change. The relationship needs to change, or you need to find someone new. So number one thing you have to do is sit down and talk with a girl. If there's something that you don't like in a relationship, maybe you're not getting enough sex. Maybe that's totally dead. You need to find out why that is and say, look, these are the things that I need in a relationship. I can't have you talking to me like this anymore. This is how I want to be with you. I'm a sexual guy. I need this kind of stuff. Is that going to be possible for you? This is what I need. If you can't give me that, then I'm going to have to leave. And maybe she'll turn around and say to you, oh my God, I'm so happy that you said this stuff. I just wanted you to take control of the relationship. I just felt like you were letting yourself go and you let me do whatever. And that's why I'm unattracted to you. That's usually what you'll find. You are the problem. Like 9 times out of 10, you're the problem. You have to look that in the face. Maybe she turns around and says to you, I don't want to fuck you. Look at you. You don't look good. And you go, okay, I needed to hear it. That's the truth. And you use that fire, that hurt feeling to go and get your fucking ass in the gym. And you work out non-stop. And you keep that going around in your head until you become this man. So that's step number one. You lay your cards on the table. You say, this is how I want to live. This is the relationship I want with you. If we can't achieve that, then I'm leaving. If she doesn't do what you say or doesn't respect you, then you leave. And you leave with the feeling that this is the progressive overload I need. This is the pain I need to push me forwards in my life. Because every time we settle into comfort, we settle into a way of life, we lose the animalistic urge that we have as men. We start to lose that inner power of feeling like we can change our reality. And that's what you need to hold on to on a regular basis. That's what you have to feel in your day-to-day life. So that's step number one. If you've got a relationship, sort it out. There are your steps to doing so. She's not down. When you reframe, then you leave and you go out alone. And then you come on to, you're now a single guy. How do we deal with that? Problem with most guys is they don't have high enough self-esteem to talk to attractive women. They don't feel enough self-worth, or maybe they don't even have enough self-worth. They haven't created anything, they haven't done anything. So where do you start with that? And this is kind of how I started. 18 years old, you're not banging 10 out of 10 models from around the world. It's just not happening. Like, you don't have the value yet, but you don't let that stop you. You pick up your local 4 or 5 and you get it done. And you start racking up some experience points. You start speaking to the girls you can speak to. Maybe it's not where you want to be yet. You start getting a little experience. You date a couple of girls. Maybe they're not exactly what you want, but you pick up a few tricks. Start seeing a few girls. And you build yourself up as a man through progressive overload. And you get to a point where maybe you've been going for 4s or 5s or 6s or 7s. And in your heads, you call them 10s, but they're really not. And it's because you have low self-esteem, because you're scared. Whatever you're scared of, you have to run towards. And so you get to a point where in this part of your life with women, you have to stop being scared and you go for the 10. You go for exactly what you want and you figure out in your brain, what kind of woman do I want? How do I want the relationship framed? How do I want her to treat me? What do I want her to look like? And you write all of that down. Write it down in detail. What's your perfect girl? And what this does, cements in your mind that when you see that girl, that perfect girl, you go straight for it and you speak to her because you're manifesting it in your mind. And that's a quick rundown on how we use progressive overload in that area of our lives to change everything. Because if you've got a good woman next to you, a hot woman that you enjoy being with, and you don't see them too much, and you have your space and you're framed correctly to do your work, become the man you want, it's a massive power pack. Like in my life, it's a huge power source. Like that my girlfriend believes in me, listens to me, she's hot, we have great sex, all that sort of stuff is a massive bonus to my life, and it allows me to operate at a higher level as a man. If you don't have that in your life, God forbid your girlfriend is making you feel worse about yourself and you're not changing something, or she's just saying it to be mean, then that's holding you back. Number 2, now women's out of the way, location. If you've lived in the same place for your entire life, you've got none of the benefits of progressive overload. When I was 18 years old, I lived in my hometown, which was Peterborough, England, and I wanted to get out. I had that burning fire inside of me. I just knew inside of me that if I went away, I would learn more. I had to get away from the person that I was being told I was, and that I knew that there was a bigger vision for me, there's somewhere else. And the first thing I did is I went to Bournemouth. I went to university, dropped out of university, stayed in Bournemouth. And I became this better version of me than when I was younger. I made more money, I had a sales job, got a girlfriend, all those sorts of things. Picked up MMA, fighting for the first time. We'll come on to skill development and progressive overload. But then I went on that journey, ended up in Bournemouth, become this version of myself. And I've always had it naturally inside of me that I get this itchiness, this like, fuck, I need to move around. I need to go somewhere else. Like the next level is somewhere else. I need to go where I'm scared. And so I packed my bags, got rid of my apartment, broke up with a girlfriend, and I moved to Thailand. And that's where my life really changed. And that's what I would recommend for you. It doesn't have to be Thailand. It doesn't even have to be out of your country. But if you want 4 years of life development in 2 months or 6 months, go and move to a new country. Go and spend 6 months in Colombia, in Dubai, in Thailand, in Korea, and you will come back a new person, because you will be so scared to leave everything you've ever known, all the things you've ever done, all the people you know, all your security blanket is gone. And that's exactly what you need as a man. That's exactly what makes you great. Going out alone, going and venturing and finding something that you've not found before and becoming this new person. So I went over to Thailand and I was scared. And there was times where I was like, was this a bad choice? But in the end, this version of you will come out and you'll realize how much of a savage you really are on the inside. You will realize that inside of every one of us is a complete savage that has your best interest at heart, that wants the best for you, that will do as you tell him, that will get in shape in the gym, that will make social media content, that will work on the business, is inside every one of us. The problem is we use fear to mask that character. That character inside of us is fearless. And the more you can dig him out like freaking Michelangelo out of a freaking brick stone, whatever that statue is, if you can dig him out and find him and become him, he will guide you. And that's what I found in Thailand. I found this more savage version of myself that wasn't scared. I became an entirely new person 3 or 4 times over on the Thailand trip. And then I became successful. by most people's standards. I was hitting $100,000 a month into my second year in Thailand with my online business through social media. I'd built a fairly big brand and I was very content. I was very happy, very content, king of the world, really the king of sort of Thailand. You have $100,000 a month in Thailand. There's not much you can't do. I had a great penthouse. I could do whatever I wanted. I flew on private jets around Thailand. And I felt myself in that same spot again. Like, this is everything I've ever wanted. I'm super happy with it. And it's not that I'm looking for more or I'm looking to be happier somewhere else. I know I probably won't be. And that's why I moved to Dubai. Because I knew I was too happy, too good, and too much of a king in Thailand. And I brought myself back down a level and moved to somewhere more expensive with more competition to give me more drive, to become another person again, to allow me to hone my craft. I'd done the same stuff really in Thailand for a long time. As you'd see with the content, I was making social media, I was making PowerPoint videos, just using my life experience. But that dries up after a while. How do you keep giving people life experience if you don't keep expanding your life? So I knew that I had a next step, and I've always wanted to make films. I wanted to make cinematics. I wasn't doing that in Thailand. There was no need to. I was too comfortable. So I came here, I reinvested in the equipment, the villa, all the stuff that's scary, that you're like, fuck, I had it easy there, and now I'm going somewhere else. And it's in that place, that's where you find your fulfillment and your growth. And that's where you look in the mirror one day and you think, wow, that's a fucking savage that I've not really seen before. And that was why I moved here. So I implore you to listen to this video, and if you have been in the same place for a long time, consider a trip alone. You don't have to move house, you don't have to sell your apartment or do anything crazy, but book a month in Colombia, book a month in Thailand, go there alone, see what happens, challenge yourself, become the person, that hero in your story, because that's so fulfilling for how you feel as a guy. Now we're on to skill development. How you use progressive overload in skill development to become the person that you want to be. And there's one pointer I use in my life to decide what these skills should be, and that's who I was as a kid. What you thought of as a kid was pure, and it was pretty aligned with who you actually wanted to be, because it was before the rest of the nonsense from the world came in and tried to shape you into the person that the world wants you to be, who your friends want you to be, who society wants you to be, and that kid was free. So I look back in my life and I think, what skills did that young version of me want? And he'd watch movies and he'd think, I want to be able to fight. I want to be able to shoot a gun or use a knife or defend against a knife or speak another language or make a movie. And that's what I use as guidance for the skills that I develop in my life. Like last year, I spent a week in a special forces unit in Poland, learning gun control and gun shooting and loads of different stuff about guns, firing Glocks and AR-15s and some light machine guns, smoke grenades, all this sort of stuff. And most people would think that's a waste of time. Most entrepreneurs sitting here watching this would think that's not monk mode. Like, I could be working. Those skills that you wanted to know as a kid, when you learn them, not only do you get this massive burst of confidence running around with guns and actually knowing how to use them, reload them, unjam them. I'm not good in the terminology, but all that sort of stuff makes you feel like a man, boosts your testosterone. You're around other men doing it for starters, so it feels good. It gives you energy in your life, and it has this renewing quality. When you learn a new skill, it renews you. It gives you a new lens on the things that you're doing in business. It gives you a new lens on content. It gives you a new lens on the videos that I make and the person that you're becoming and the things you can talk about. A well-traveled, well-experienced, highly skilled man is a massive asset, and you've got to try and become that whilst also getting your money. Don't let the monk modes, discipline all the time, all this shit, staying in, blocking everything out, not let you acquire skills, because skills are super fucking cool. If you can do multiple different things, speak a few languages, run a gun, martial arts, all of these things will challenge you as a man. And challenge works across the board. Learning a new skill, like running a gun, challenges you in your business, challenges you to see, okay, that's a guy that's good at that. It reestablishes your position in the worldview. It makes it more realistic. Most men think they can pick up a gun and fire it and kill people, or use it if they needed to, or know how to function it realistically. When you go there, you know it's a little more complicated. You know you probably couldn't do that. It gives you a reality view, a reality check, and allows you to start building, gives you that fire again. So I'd say get a skill, whatever it is, one new skill. Pick it for this year. Learn to box, learn Krav Maga, self-defense, learn jiu-jitsu, learn MMA, have your first fight. It will have benefits far bigger than just the skill. Playing a guitar, playing a piano, and then suddenly there's a piano at an airport and you're playing piano in the airport and people are listening and you film it, social media blows up. You're playing in a karaoke bar, playing guitar. Like, that's real life experience. That's like the stuff that great stories are made of. That's the way you want to live. Is you want to be that person that when you were a kid you wanted to be, because now you've got the resources and ability to do it. So don't let him down. Don't let that kid down and just be lazy or boring and have comfort in your life. Go out there and do the hard things that you wanted to do when you were a kid, when you weren't scared. And that will develop you as a man across all realms. The next one's money. Progressive overload in money. You want to make more money. You need more money to live a better life to a certain extent. You're going to need more money. You start hitting around $100,000 a month and you put it in the right places and you don't live too extravagant. Like, there's a lot of stuff you can have and you can set yourself up for life if you do that for long enough. But if you want to make more money, you need to stop being scared of charging more money. That's what I say to any clients I have in the New Elite. Normally when we sit down and talk about their business, a lot of the guys we have, some are CEOs, some are small business owners, some are big business owners, some are online business owners, coaches. Normally one of the first things I say is, why do you charge that price? Because I know somebody that's making way more money than you charging this price. And then the answer comes out, which is usually something like, well, that's expensive. Why is that expensive? Well, I don't know if I can deliver the value. And it's like, there you go. Because it's fear. You're scared to charge more. Why? Because you don't feel valuable enough. Because you don't have the self-worth. If you want to massively increase your self-worth and give yourself a kick up the ass to get that stuff done, double your prices. Double prices in your business if you give a service to someone, because it does a few things. Number one, I think price increases increase sales because people associate value and price together. So when you charge $10,000 for something rather than $1,000, people see it as the best version of the thing on the market rather than the worst, because that's just how we're trained to evaluate price and product. When people say, buy cheap, buy twice, that's like a bad thing about buying cheap. People say, buy quality, buy once. That's what you need to be. And people associate that with luxury and it being a good service. Not only is it that, but once you charge a higher price, you have to then feel you deliver the value. So you make your thing better, whatever it may be, coaching or a program or a software or whatever it is that you charge for. You have to find a better marketing angle. You have to understand luxury brand psychology. You have to know why people spend more money on certain things than they do on others. And you become a better, well-rounded man. Money is not the root of all evil. The obsession with money is the root of all evil, of knowing that money is the only thing. But as we know from this video, this is not the only thing. We're developing the whole. You're using this. I'm not saying go out and be extravagant and crazy with this money. I'm saying set yourself up for life. Build a trust structure. Like, get your money away. Invest it in the right places. If you're smart, you know what I'm talking about. Go check out the Raw channel. I did a video on this, how to become a sovereign man in 2025, how to become completely untouchable in regards to your finances. You can go and check that out on the Jack Hopkins Raw channel. But all you're saying to people when you don't make loads of money is, I don't believe in myself and the value I bring to the world. And increasing your prices allows you to make more money, serve people better, get better clientele, and actually improve the things that you do, whatever business it may be. So progressively overload yourself with money. Another one is book a business class flight, book a first class flight. I remember the first time I ever booked a business class flight from Thailand back to the UK. It's like a 12 or 13 hour flight. I'd only ever flown it economy and I'd started to make a little bit of money, but not a lot of money. I had like 10K maybe. And the flight was like 4K. And I was like, most of my money, and I'd only just started making money. But I did it. I booked it because I thought, what the fuck am I scared of? I've been here with no money. I had literally no money, 5K in credit card debt when I was in Thailand. Like, after a little while, I'd spent on my credit card to survive and I turned it around. And I just looked at it and I thought, this is just, it's abundance mindset. This is just money. I'm going to make loads of money, but let's have some experience. Let's see what it's like sitting up there, because that's where I think we're heading. That's where I think I belong. That's where you belong. is in that seat. And I sat in that seat and I fucking worked the whole time. I worked the whole time, worked on my website, worked on conversions and testimonials. I wrote some video scripts. I was productive. I was in the right state of mind. I thought, I've spent this money, I'm going to make it back. And I made the money back 10 times over. I've done that with every big purchase I made. I've made the money back 10 times over because I believe I can do it, and I use it to enforce my beliefs about what my reality should be. And that's what it should be. And that's what it should be for you. So progressively overload yourself with money. Don't be silly. Keep money put away. Don't spend it all. Don't spend everything you earn. Have a plan, an investment plan, crypto, gold and silver, stocks and bonds, S&P, trust structures. You'll learn all that stuff. Don't be crazy with it, but there should be a fund that you blow. And you say, I'm blowing it because I want to show myself who I am. This is what I deserve as a man. And that progressive overload will get you used to that life. And it will change your brain. And then you'll think, okay, well, now I need to charge more. And now I need to be better because I want to live this life. And you get addicted to it. I've never flown an economy long haul ever since that day, probably 2 years ago now. Flown probably 50 times, business or first, hundreds of thousands of dollars on flights because I believe in me. And if another man can do it, I can do it. And I believe in you. If another man can do it, if I can do it, you can do it. But it all comes from this, progressively overloading our lives and running towards fear. That's the undertone of this video, is you must run towards what scares you and don't let it scare you anymore and overcome those things. And each time it's like you're building your armor and you're becoming this man that nobody can deal with because barely anyone does this. Maybe they figure out business, maybe. 1% of people figure out business. Of that 100% that have figured out business, 1% of those guys figure out their body. 1% of those guys figure out their money, their body, and a skill. 1% of those guys figure out their money, their body, their skill, their relationships, where they live in the world. If you become this man, you become a truly exceptional, well-rounded man. And that's what this is all about. To finish off this video is training. Don't lift the same weights every week. That's literally what progressive overload is. If you lift one weight 1 week, 10 kilograms, let's say. Well, you guys are bigger than that. Let's say 100 kilos. The next week you lift 102.5. And then the next week you lift 105. And then the next week you lift 107.5. And then 110. In your training, in your running, in your life, in your women, in your relationships, in your money, in the whole lot. Every week, start to track it. What am I doing to push myself? What am I doing to become better? How much more weight did I lift this week? And you know what happens? The strange thing about this is you start to become confident because you can associate wins with so many aspects of your life. Like maybe 1 week business isn't going super well, but on that week you approached and got a date with the first 10 that you've ever approached. And on that same week you lifted the most on squat you've ever lifted, or you lifted the most chest press. And on that week you also had some sort of breakthrough in the skill you were learning. Maybe it's guitar and you learned a new song, or maybe it was shooting guns and you became proficient at it, or it was fighting and you got your first knockdown. And on the same week you moved location, or you're now in a new place. Like those are the things that, because business and money and all these things it will come if the other things line up and you focus on it. And a lot of people forget that. They become so ingrained in the business that they don't become someone people want to do business with. You become this man of skill. If you defeat obstacles in so many different realms, business becomes easy. And on those weeks that you feel bad because maybe you didn't make so much money, you're like, well, 4 other parts of my life and my skill set became way better. And that's how I design my life. It's the constant push for more, not because we need more monetary things, but because it develops us as men. And there's nothing more satisfying than knowing you're competent and a professional, and that you've exhausted all your options, and that you're truly maximizing your potential. That's what it's all about. Maximize your potential, live your life to the fullest, become everything you can be. Otherwise, what you're doing. So guys, it's been a pleasure. See you on the next one. Punch the new lens. Idiot. Actually hurt myself.